Cubism Journey Part 18. In this part of the journey I thought it would be fun to explore another Corsa B painting. I like working with the old retro 90s cars and stuff like that, Corsas, Saxos, Peugeots and things. The kind of cars I kind of grew up with, and they're my favourite ones that look like really cool when they're modded and from the year 2000s and stuff. So I thought this would be another fun one to do. I've done several of the Corsas beforehand, but every time I do it in a cubist style, it always ends up completely a different new effect, so it's always interesting to see, even if I do the same car, what kind of different effect the cubism style can do. I work with cubism because it's my favourite kind of art style, made by George Braque and Pablo Picasso over 100 years ago. But I also love painting vehicles for a living, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of combine my love for the art style of cubism and my also love for the vehicles. Kind of combine the two together because it's something that hasn't been done before. And I can see these vehicles that I really enjoy in a new perspective and a new light. To start off with, I work with oil pastels, black oil pastel on a tan paper. Instead of working with like a white paper, I want something with a little bit less contrast to the actual black itself. That way all the colours are already on the page. So when I actually apply the highlights, I can apply in very specific areas and not have that white area already there. And the first part of the actual picture, when it comes to cubism and stuff, is to develop multiple views at once. That's where cubism develops. It shows multiple perspectives all at the same time and kind of merge them together. The emphasis is not just like the views itself, but also the raw ingredients that make up of the object that you're actually drawing. So for this one, with the Corsa and stuff like that, I am focused on certain instincts of the front view, with the side view, the rear view and stuff like that. But I'm also following the aspects of the curves that are there, the shapes, the lines and stuff like that, the raw stuff that makes up the whole vehicle, and combine them all together on this flat perspective. So you can see I've got the front view here, where you can see identify the light and the grille. But also got, like, next to that, I'm going to have the shape of the wheel arch, which curves around. Then at the back, I've got like I love all the speakers. I've got like some of the circles from the interior. I've got a little bit from the side with the decal coming off the side, the yellow bit. I also have some of the rear view, some of the top and stuff. So it's a lot of the mishmash of all the different views together, mixed together in the one piece. Now the skeleton of the actual picture is the main aspect of it, and I will be topping up the skeleton as I go along, because this makes up the main frame. And once I've got like these mishmash of geometric shapes actually formed, what I want to do is keep the perspective flat. So you don't want like a single vanishing point, which is what happens with realistic pictures and stuff. You want to have a flat perspective, so the light source comes from all different areas. So for each geometric shape, it goes from light to dark. So, and it'll be the opposite for each different shard that comes around it. So for one like shard, that'll be dark here and light there, then it'll be dark here, then light there. And you'll be able to turn the picture any way it's round, and the perspective will be exactly the same because it's flat. There's no initial depth there. There's also muted colours within the picture as well, because Pablo Picasso and stuff like that understood that the colours can actually give a lot of depth to the paper, and they want to keep the depth flat. So for instance, red is a very popping colour and it can actually bring pictures forward, while like cool tones like blue and purple and stuff can pull the paper back. There is colours in these vehicles and stuff that I paint and stuff, but I try and keep it muted down. So for instance, there's yellow decals, there's like blue from the neon interior, there's a little bit of red from the tail lights, and a little bit of light blue from the actual windows. Those aspects are all there and the colours are there, but I muted them down to actually just keep the perspective flow like down. The process is pretty much the same for every cubist painting that I like to do. Once you've got the initial skeleton of the actual, like all the different lines and stuff there, it is a bit jumbled and a bit mishmash, and this is where the fun part becomes. Sometimes you lose yourself in the identity of certain areas that you've done, but you know that all the raw ingredients are actually there. All the lines and shapes that you see have come from the vehicle. Even though you can't really make up some of them yourself, you know you've drawn them from the actual vehicle itself. So I like to start off with each geometric shape as a whole. So you've got like a dark area with a geometric shape and a highlighted area at the very top. So I work with like one corner first, identifying all like the dark areas for each geometric shape, dotting them around and stuff like that, keeping the opposite flow. And then because this car is kind of grey in colour, so I go from the black to the dark, and then gradually be up to the like white colours. I like to use oil pastels because I love that the grudgy feel. It works well with paints and stuff like that, but because I tweak these pictures like every couple of weeks and stuff like that, it becomes laborious to try to get the paints prepped every single time. That way with the oil pastels I can just have them on the go, ready to go, and blend them together easily with linseed oil. And when I blend them together, I go back to actually identify the skeleton of the original piece. So you can see as it's developing here, I work on like a bottom section first, and I'll go all the way with one bottom section. So I'll get the oil pastels down, blend them, top up the skeleton, get more oil down, stuff like that. Then once that area is like saturated with oil, I'll work into the next corner. And rather than doing the whole picture as all together, I like to do like different corners and different sections of the picture. That way the whole picture doesn't become saturated all at once with lots of oil and might warp the paper. So I'll work with one corner, then once that one corner is done, I can work into the next corner. It's a really fun one to do. This Corsa has lots of unique modifications to it. It's got like the bad boy bonnet with the bonnet coming over the lights to give like a cool like frowning look. It's got like interesting bumper set with these like grills, curves round. It's got the decal on the side, which is different. It's got an interesting interior with lots of interesting sound system. So every single aspect of this vehicle is modified, but it makes it very interesting to explore these geometric shapes actually involved in it. I call this kind of the journey and the exploration of these vehicles because I don't really plan these pictures out. It's very difficult to even conceive mentally what it's actually going to look like, because you're breaking down your current perceived reality and then breaking them down to raw ingredients and then bringing them back up to a finished piece. So every time I want to try and do a vehicle in cubism style, it's always a surprise and effect. And the actual initial end effect isn't the actual goal itself, it's the process of actually developing the picture, which is the most fun bit. What I like about this picture, I love the initial centre bit with the headlight and the grille, though it is quite like realistic sort of with the proportions and stuff, it's the centre bit, but I really like the highlights in there. The extra highlights just on the edges of all these geometric shapes I do with a bit of gouache once the oil is dried and stuff, just to really give that highlight an extra touch. Because when I'm visualising all these geometric shapes, I try and visualise them as each individual 3D object, like maybe a mountain or something like that, or a deep pit. So the mountain's curving up with high point snowy peaks, and coming down to like the really dark pit below. All the cubist paintings were less busy around the edges and more concentrated in the centre. I think that was the only aspect that I didn't like about this picture, was it a little bit too busy on the edges, but stuff like that. But I think overall it still looks pretty cool. Even though I've done lots of different Corsa Bs in my pictures, I like to actually work maybe with some more Corsa Bs. Again, explore, see how a different effect actually develops with this cubist style. It's something brand new, it's something completely different, and yeah, it's just really fun to actually draw and paint. But these are like any particularly these pictures don't really develop my art business or anything like that. They're literally just a fun hobby on the side. Something I like to do. So you can see there, this is now the finished piece. I'm really happy how this one turned out. I can literally just get like hypnotised and stare at all these different areas, try and figure out where some are, but some areas I can't really figure out. It's weird because you can see like areas of the side view, but then you see areas of the rear view, you see areas of the front view, but maybe that's at the top. Maybe that's more of the side. I'm not sure. It's a mishmash, but yeah, looks really awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want any suggestions, like, subscribe and all that pish. I'll see you later.